today's episode, we're joined by wellness coach and sex expert Julia Caton to explore the intriguing question, what is the fitness factor? Together, we'll dive into the 5 key areas of the fitness factor, explaining what they are and how you can implement them in your life. Make sure to listen until the end, where Julia will reveal a surprising 6th factor as well as share her most important piece of advice for incorporating these principles into your daily routine. And before we get started, a quick announcement. The Be Well, Be Safe, Be Happy, Eat Ice Cream podcast will soon be rebranded as the Live Happy, Healthy, and Inspired podcast. Well, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or good evening, depending where on the world you are. I'm Brad, and of course, this is another amazing episode of the Be Well, Be Safe, Be Happy, Eat Ice Cream podcast. And I've got my guest with me today, Julia. We're actually in the same room. This rarely happens, so this is kind of a neat thing. Julia, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Brad. I'm so
Yeah.
glad to be here, and this is so much fun.
Yeah.
We've done some lives before, and we just seem to have a really good vibe and so much fun.
And
sharing space.
just to make a couple announcements real quick for anyone listening or watching, I'm going to be rebranding the Be Well, Be Safe, Be Happy, Eat Ice Cream podcast here in the next couple of months. I'm going to be rebranding it to Live Happy, Healthy, and Inspired. So if you have any comments, any feedback on that, just contact me by Facebook. Let me know. I'd be happy to communicate with you. And then also, Julia and I are going to start resuming our Facebook Live that we did a long time ago. Julia has a new office space. Yay. We're all excited about that. And we're going to be working in there and then collaborating and, bringing you a weekly Facebook Live. So stay tuned for more information on that. But Julia, welcome to the podcast. It's awesome to have you here.
It's about time that I actually made it to that position of being asked to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
We've only known each other how long?
For about a year.
About a year.
I had some of her colleagues on it already before her, and anyway, so that's another thing.
That's okay. I won't hold it against you.
Yes. Oh well, thank you. I appreciate that. But so Julia, you come up with a new term I'm really excited about and to share with our listeners and viewers here today. We're going to be talking about something called the fitness factor. What is the fitness factor? And I know, Julia, you've gone through a lot of your own transformations and stuff like this. So.
Yes.
Take it away. Tell us, what is the fitness factor?
The fitness factor, to make it very, very simple, it is 4 areas and sometimes 5, depending on what we want to address in our lives, that have something to do with the F. Okay, the F, okay, right. Either in sound or the letter, okay. So it's dealing with healthy perceptions and experiences in finances, in physical fitness, in family, and in faith. And sometimes it's also, because I'm a sex and intimacy and sexual trauma recovery coach, it also includes that fun F, or sex. We'll go with that one since I don't know what audience
we'll do
are listening.
Episode on that. Yeah, that'll be another
but it's about that process of really taking a look at everything in our life and asking, how can I level up to optimize the design that's been poured into us?
So you just said every aspect of your life. Is that what you just said? Can you kind of expand on that? What are some of the aspects of our lives that you're talking about?
Well,
just physical fitness being one of them, I guess.
Yeah, well, most of us are in some kind of relationship, or we desire one, okay? Some of us are...
I'm the exception, but okay.
I said some.
Some, yeah.
And some of us are going to be dealing with health issues, or we just want to edify our health, okay? For me, it's 5.5 years ago, I had a medication-induced stroke. And so for me, the journey I'm on today actually didn't begin recently. It was 5.5 years ago, okay? It completely changed my experience with this life, and I didn't want to stay stuck in what the medical mode said would be my outcome, okay? Some of us are spiritual, some of us are religious, some of us are a blend, okay? So it's addressing that. Some of it is we want to look at nutrition because we're looking at health, okay? How's our nutrition? It's our finances. Where are we money-wise? And by the way, I've learned that some people are fine with just being in survival mode when it comes to finances. And if that's where they're happy, they've leveled up to that. They're okay. That works for them. For others, they're going to be the 1%, trillionaires that are out there, and they don't stop, okay? But that doesn't always equate to happiness. but it does, equate to more options in life, which is that's another topic for another podcast another time. But
we have lots of topics. That's where we're going to be doing the live show. Yeah.
But it's really understanding that when we apply the fitness factor to our lives, we are not just addressing one single issue at a time. We're making an assessment of our lives and saying, how do I want to optimize the divinity in me? And create, in other words, we're going to go out and do the action steps, okay, to live the life that we want to live.
So so you mentioned with the fitness factor, there's the physical fitness, you said, right? And then you mentioned financial fitness.
Yes.
What are some of the other ones you mentioned?
That's just going to be the family fitness. So
family fitness,
and family is relationships.
Yeah,
yes.
Relationships.
Remember, we're staying with the F's if we can, or at least the sounds.
Oh, that's what you meant by F. Now I get
yes.
I'm a little slow.
Yes, it's okay. And then faith, whether that is the religious or spirituality or something along those lines. I'm just, to keep it easy to have a dialogue.
So if someone wanted to start the fitness factor journey, to get on that journey, what's the first action step then that they would take? Would they prioritize like the F's, the different F's, the 5 F's or whatever, or like how did you get started, or what?
I stumbled into it. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah,
I would.
Most things happen,
yes, in my own healing journey, I realized that that there was a process of living life that I wanted to experience, but I couldn't experience it where it was at. And the recovery of the stroke, the outcome of that was so significant. And so as he's trying to fix the camera and everything here, is that what ended up happening, and I would love to say that my journey actually began about 8 months ago, but it's been, like I said, 5.5 years, very small steps, stumbling into this idea that life has to be, if we want to experience the kind of dialogue that we would love to have. I'm so distracted by this, guys. I was like, okay, you got it? You got it? Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's like having a child in the room. Do not let him, my belated husband.
I'm a good host, trust me.
My belated husband used to say, do not, he goes, test the word, not the food. Okay, and I was a good cook, y'all, but that was, or experiment on the word, not the food, kind of thing.
But anyway, fitness factor.
Fitness. Well, hey, this is, someone might want to get fit in this area.
Yeah.
He's bringing me back is what he's doing, guys. Is that back in November, January, and February, I received 3 diagnoses right in a row.
Of this year?
Of November of last year. So it was November, December, and January. 3 different diagnoses that by the time I got the 3rd one, I knew that if I didn't make some significant changes with intention in my life, I was going to be wheelchairing my life, wheelchairing right into the grave. I mean, it was not a fun place to be, and so I had to take a real life inventory of what I needed to change. No one was coming to rescue. One of the therapies alone was over $12,000 before I could even get insurance to kick in. Wow. Okay, and so it was a lot, for somebody that is not quite where I need to be financially. And it would be a lot for anybody. I don't know too many people that just go, oh, I just want to throw that money out there. But the reality is that to get the therapies that, again, I just caught myself in my own limiting belief right there. So if you guys see me do that, just know I caught it, okay? But in the space that I was in when I received that news, I knew I didn't have the finances readily available in my bank to go pay for it, to take care of myself. So what I did is I took this personal assessment and I made this checklist and just basically said, these are the areas that I need to change in my life. There may be other areas, but these were the prior. I did. And it was these areas, okay? It was where do I want to grow in these areas that I can become my most fit. Now, understand that I think, and again, this is a process that's being developed, I think that how we identify fitness in life changes as we age. So at different stages, it's going to look different. For me, that's where I was at. And so this became my mantra. Okay, so I've done this personal assessment and I said these are the areas that are 4 to 5 areas that are the highest priority to me.
And those became the 5 F's.
Yes,
Fitness,
yes.
Family, faith. Okay,
Yes, and all that.
finances.
And so how I started that process is back in November. I hated working out. I'm not going to say I love it now, but I love the results of it. Okay.
It's usually not fun in the beginning,
It's
to be
not.
honest.
Well, it's
Yeah.
not fun now. My trainers are trying to kill me.
Oh,
I walked out and I'm like, I'm hurting. But here's the reality of it is that I chose to make one change in one of the areas of the 5 F's. Okay.
Which area was that?
Fitness, physical fitness. Okay.
With that one.
Yes, which also would include nutrition.
Okay,
So
so
go ahead.
real quick. So just to point out for everyone listening and watching this, so start with a checklist. Julia started with the checklist that became the 5 F's: fitness, financial, family, faith,
and the F word.
The F, yeah.
It's a healthy sex, y'all. So.
Okay, yeah, I get it. But what she just said is key for anyone listening. You made a choice to change. That's where transformation starts. That's where you get on the Fitness Factor journey. That's what happened to me, like in my starting 14 years ago. I finally made a concrete choice or decision to change. And for me, it started with fitness too, physical fitness. So anyone listening, it starts with a conscious choice to change. So I just wanted to point that out.
I love that. And actually, I want to play on that because the reason why I'm going to take a guess here that we both chose physical fitness is that in those prioritized list of items that you want to address in your life is that physical fitness may actually be the easiest one to change with the quickest
I think it's
scene.
the most well-known one.
It is. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
But I also think it's the area that you see the most change for the amount of time and effort that you're applying. The quickest. There we go. Yeah. And so I would almost say that's why people do it. Okay. And so with that, because I didn't like going into loud spaces, I didn't like going to the gym at all. I made a commitment to this, a mantra. This is what I did. Okay, I said to myself, Julia.
Yeah. What's your
mantra? My mantra is Julia. It's one day, one choice, one commitment, and one follow through at a time. That was my mantra. And what I would do is I would walk into the gym, touch the desk, and leave.
Oh, wow.
For probably 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
I had no.
You're talking about the desk at the gym.
At the gym, yeah.
Wow.
That's it. That was it. Because remember, I'm still trying to get used to the sounds. They got the loud music, like classes going on. It's a lot of thumping, a lot of people.
A lot of
yes, right. All that. That part probably wouldn't have bothered me, but that the loudness and again, at that point in time, I wasn't trying to go in and work out. I was trying to develop a habit of showing up. And the showing up wasn't to please anybody else. There we go. One small step is that I was choosing to show up for myself in the most minuscule, tiny step I could. Okay.
But it started with you making a choice to change.
Yes. One day.
That was the catalyst that started it. Yeah. So this is incredible because you said this was last November, December, January, February. So that was literally 5-6 months ago. Yeah. Not that long ago. Yeah. So where are you now compared to where you were 6 months ago when you came up with the 5F?
Oh my gosh. Okay, completely different.
Yeah, night and day.
Night and day. Yeah. One, I have lost over 20 pounds. We'll just go through all of these. It might be a little bit easier for the listeners. Is that through the Fitness Factor decision of one day, one choice, one commitment, one follow through at a time, I went from touching the desk in the gym and leaving to I work out 2 to 3 times a day. Okay, now that looks different because I also education that I don't do my cardio and my muscle building in the same workout because they counter each other. Okay, so that's going to be 2 workouts a day. And then I'm always going to include some kind of core or stretching flexibility workout at some point in the day because I wanted to also just gain that as we age, our hip flexibility, our abilities to move and dance and walk and climb and squat, it just changes because we're no longer being a kid. that will
Don't
do.
get up as fast as I used to.
We can change it, and so I went, and I'll for any of our listeners that know what a Thai squat is, it's where okay, well, in India and in Thailand, you literally squat down because that's how they go to the bathroom, because they go to the bathroom in a hole.
I call that a natural sit, but okay.
Okay, yeah. Well, we call it a Thai squat because that's how it was introduced to me, because my daughter served a mission in Thailand. And I couldn't do it. I could not only could I not squat that far, okay, because they'll use it to sit for waiting for buses and taxis.
Position of most Asian countries.
Yes, yes. Yeah. And if I did do it, I was on tippy toes trying to figure out how not to fall over.
Now, I won't tell you how I first did it when I was learning that. Well, never mind.
Okay. Today, not only can I get in that flat-footed, but I can jump around and walk around in that squat.
Wow.
And I didn't start that process.
You demonstrate.
No, that would be awkward in a dress. But
I have to move the camera more. Yeah.
I've got a video on it somewhere. I'm sure it's on Facebook.
We'll add it to this.
Add it to the list. And that I intentionally do the process. So when I look at it, so I've lost 20 pounds. I've gained at least 10 pounds, maybe more of muscle. This past week, we know, because I do body scans with my trainers, that this past week I gained 1.4 pounds in muscle mass, skeletal muscle mass. So why is that important? Because the more skeletal muscle mass that you have, it actually is connected to longevity in life. Okay, plus you need that muscle mass to eat the fat, the unhealthy fats. Okay, so that was just the physical fitness. I mean, I go in now, I run the gym. I mean, they know when I'm coming in. My trainer is excited to work with me. I'm like, let's get it, even on days that suck. And there are some days that I go in and I'm just like, can we not do it? I don't
do it when you're tired, as I always say.
But you do it because why? I made that commitment to myself, and I'm building up personal integrity.
Let me jump on that real quick. So again, anyone listening, she just said she made a commitment to yourself. A lot of people fall short in that area, the commitment piece. What was it, or how were you able to make that commitment to yourself? I did the same thing. I can answer for me, but how did you make that commitment, and how can our listeners make that same commitment to themselves?
I'm going to be very vulnerable here because I don't want to say what actually spurred on the moment. Okay. And I'm actually going to start with a quote. Okay.
Sure.
A guy named Johnny Del Combs said, "Remember, everything is hard. Being single is hard. Being married is hard. Being broke is hard. Being wealthy is hard. Being fit and healthy is hard. Being unfit and ill is hard."
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
It's about, you have to choose which hard you want to live with. So, and I wanted to quote that real quick because I want you to understand, when I say this is not an easy thing for me to have to admit to. But I got into a pinch, and without realizing, I lied to somebody. It was not meant to be. It was not some people got hurt. And it was done. It was never done out of malice. There was none. Okay. But when I realized that I had done it, I didn't know how to fix it.
When you had done what?
When I was trying to, I'd lied about something. And when I say lying, okay, we got to understand that when we lie, sometimes we lie to cover up. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we lie because we don't realize that we're lying. Okay, so we're not being honest with ourselves. And if we're not honest with ourselves, we're not going to be honest with somebody else. That was the case with me, is that I had committed to something. It didn't work out. It's irrelevant, and it impacted other people's lives. Okay, and I didn't know how to fix it. And I realized that there are some things in this life you just do not get to fix. Okay, and there are some repair works that you do not get to repair. And I don't know if that will be the case through a lifetime, but what it did is that experience was one of my greatest teachers, because I realized that I would have never have been in that situation had my own personal integrity, okay, been where it needed to be. In other words, I only lied to them because I'd already been for a long time lying to myself. Okay,
huge. A lot
it's
of us
huge.
lie to ourselves, which
always
makes it more difficult to be on the journey and commit to ourselves. And I always say, when it comes to like the spirituality aspect of this, the most important part is being honest with yourself,
Yes.
being true to yourself, being true to who you are,
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
Well,
So
and I think good intentions is always there. Okay,
yeah,
I really do.
yeah.
I don't think when someone is lying to themselves that it is done in malice or trying to harm even themselves.
So is this kind of what spurred you then to make the commitment to yourself?
Yes, I went. I
Okay.
never want to experience that again.
Oh, okay.
That lesson, it was so profound here that I went. I don't want to repeat that
For
again.
those listening, she placed her hand on
Yes,
her heart.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I'm like they probably can't
The
see that.
camera, yeah.
That's some-
We'll fix the camera better for next time. But.
and so having that experience and knowing who all it impacted, I went. The issue was never about them. They're the players on the chessboard, if you will, of life. They were also my teachers. Without that experience, I wouldn't be doing what I do today. And so I, instead of trying to deny that experience happening, I decided to use that wisdom to apply it to my life. And that's just what I said. That's where the mantra came from, is that I can't say that I will never lie to myself again.
And your mantra again is one
day, one choice, one commitment, and one follow through at a time. It applies to everything in life.
One day, one choice, one commitment, one follow through. So that's fitness. Let's just real quick some of the other F's like faith and family, finances, and then the F one, sex. I finally figured out what you meant by that. We'll do a whole other podcast on that last F. Because there's a lot Julia can offer in that area too. But how since you began this journey, just literally 6 months ago, that's not that long ago. How have some of these other areas in your life improved? These other F's,
I have
family, finances.
Yeah, with family, it has, and whether that's my personal or birth or extended relationships. I set really, really great boundaries now that that didn't exist before.
And you're able to do this because you have like a newfound self-esteem about yourself, or self-confidence, or
I facilitate a group, a CODA group, which is a codependency anonymous group, and so any addiction 12-step program that's out there have some of the similar principles. And so part of it was that. Part of it was as me being able to identify codependency, for instance, in others, but I couldn't see it in myself.
But then you learned to see it in yourself.
Then yes, because I had to own every bit of it. And so the moment I did that, it hurt. I mean, it was a painful process, but it was also one of the most freeing processes. And so that allowed me then to say, I love you, I will let you go.
And the you is you.
Me. I love you, but I will let my identities go, my beliefs go, my all these assumptions, these preconceived notions, all of it. I had to go, I'm just going to let it all go. But it also meant directly to people. There were people that were not healthy for me in my life where I was at that I had to let go of.
That's hard, but it's necessary in our journey to climb the 5F's mountain, I'll call it that.
Oh, I love that,
yeah. Make some tough choices and tough decisions, but ultimately it boils down to what works for me. That's spirituality in a nutshell. What is best for me? What works for me? Because that's how you create the best version of you.
So that you can go out and serve
and
help it.
Serve as the best version of you. Yeah. So. So the 5F's, you can't like do all 5 of them at the exact same time. So how do you mix and match, prioritize? Like, do you work on like fitness like for 2 hours in the morning, then like an hour in the evening you're working on family or something, or how do you balance them all? I guess.
Well, that's actually a really great question because
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anytime, Brad.
I like that you said.
So glad I could acknowledge you there and affirm you. The reality is that in my life, I have freedoms that many people don't have. I'm going to say that because that is, in fact, that may have become the 6th F.
Yeah.
Okay, so
actually, that's not bad.
Yeah, go ahead and put freedom down there so we don't forget that. Is that because of my lifestyle and where I am, I have the ability to focus on my fitness and my holistic versions of therapies like the red light bed, the ice baths, or plunges, gosh, I'm trying to think, the infrared sauna, things like, and then the three workouts that some people will not have in their lives because of their schedules. Okay.
Or finances,
Or
maybe, or
or
something. Yeah,
finances.
real quick,
Sure.
Julia's talking about some of the modalities, the external modalities she uses. So
Yes.
real quick, some of those are the infrared,
The
right?
infrared sauna,
Infrared sauna,
the red light bed,
red light bed.
the ice and the ice and hot plunges.
Okay.
Okay, the salt floats.
Salt floats. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So check in your local area what kind of features though that you might have at a nearby spa or health center or something like that.
And feel free to reach out at any point in time, and I'm happy to educate and send people information on that.
If you're in the Tulsa area, she'll take you with her.
I'll show you where I go.
Yeah.
And so that was some of those modalities, and then I don't work on every one of the factors every single day. That's impractical, except for
that's what I was
the physical fitness and I'm going to say finances. Finances come in there a lot, but if I were to put finances versus faith, religion, spirituality, the spirituality is probably going to come before finances. But that's slowly changing because everything is beginning to kind of intermingle, okay, and become more complete. And but on family, the reality on the relationships, I had to make choices, okay, to develop the relationships that I wanted to strengthen, and the ones that I couldn't, I had to let go or say, for this period of time, I love you, but we're not on the same path. So it's kind of like but we can come back and revisit later, maybe.
If you put these 5Fs or now 6Fs like a pie, and you cut them up into the 6 slices, you take one slice out, like maybe on a Monday.
Yes.
Look at it, work on it. Like the fitness slice, you say you work on every day.
7 days a week.
That's one of the more tangible ones to work on. But maybe the family one you take out and work just for a couple hours on a Thursday or something. Then you put it back in for a week or so. Maybe on a Tuesday you go to a class, you're working on the faith one or something like that. Yeah, so it's not like you're doing all of this at once. So everybody, it's a balancing act. It's like juggling. One day you're working on this piece of the what should we call this pie? I don't know, pie. The fitness factor pie or something. Another time you're working on another piece of that. So that makes a lot of sense.
It does, and I love the way you just framed that, because it really is a pie chart, okay, and everybody's schedule. My schedule looks different from yours. Here's what I'm going, and ours is going to look totally different from, say, Sarah, one of my housemates, okay, or somebody listening to the show, and I want to stress that. But here's the invite. Gosh, I cannot stress the invite enough. Is do not allow yourself to make an excuse for why you're not working on these elements of the fitness factor, because this is the outcome. If we do not, okay, if we do not work something in each of these areas, then we're guaranteed to stay exactly where we are for a period, but eventually you fall back.
That goes back to the choice and the commitment.
Yes.
Making a choice to change and then committing to yourself. If you don't have those two pieces firmly grounded, then what you're just saying is the chance to fall back will be huge. So let me ask you, so accountability, everybody asks or says, how I need someone to hold me accountable or blah, blah, blah. Or how do you hold yourself accountable?
Initially, it was, I should go ahead and stress too, my day starts at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm in bed. No matter when I go to bed, I'm up at 4 a.m.
Yeah, that's when when I first started my journey, I was up at 4 a.m. Yeah, I don't do that anymore, but yeah.
But there's just so much more I can get done now. I go to bed early, but even if it's a 1, 2, or 3 o'clock at night, if I get 1 hour of sleep, and we know sleep is incredibly important because I was up doing something else that may needed to be taken care of, I'm still getting up at 4 because I won't lie to myself. I might lie in other areas. I'm not lying to myself on the 4 a.m. That alarm goes off, boom, and I have to at least roll out of bed and get my feet up and functioning. So
I'm going to talk real quick, just so in 2 words, that I talked a lot about in other podcasts and lives that I've done, but dedication and determination.
God, yes.
To make the change. Yes, you want to make the conscious choice to change, commit to yourself to change, be dedicated and determined to get that improvement that you want. So the 5S, whatever you're working on, faith, this is where you want to go. Dedicated, determined to get there. I just wanted to throw that in.
No, it really is, because again, it's about what we're telling ourselves and how we're showing up for ourselves. And And so, but when I first started, it wasn't easy. It was, in fact, I got into about March, and I could feel myself wanting to slow down on some of this. I could hear the self-defeating voices kind of going on, if you will, and we all have those, okay? And just as I was beginning to feel like there's no possible way I could get up at 4 a.m. again, and there was other health issues that were showing up as well, by the way. I would love to say that things were clearing up. They were in other areas, but as you get healthy, if there are toxins and other illnesses, they're going to begin to show up as well because you're now focusing on a different thing, and that's what was happening. And I didn't want to go backwards, and I could not. I had developed a discipline that wouldn't allow me to stay the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When I say when your desire to improve overcomes your desire to maintain the status quo, that has to be that way.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And so I found out that there were a group of lady friends of mine that had started a 5 a.m. accountability call for female entrepreneurs. And I got invited to it, and I said, yes, I will. I had to be up at 4 now to get my stuff taken care of to be ready for that call, because that call would come right in the time that I was supposed to show up at the gym. So I would have that call while I am loading up in my vehicle to drive to the gym, and sometimes
so there's dedication and
there's
determination.
yes,
And commitment.
yes. And so that was as that is happening, I'm also realizing that I physically, in the physical fitness world, I needed something more, okay, than saying I'm showing up at the gym or working on my food. I needed a way to track my progress. And I contacted an amazing female trainer she's just extraordinary. And Michelle,
real quick, let me jump in.
sure.
You're training for a bodybuilding contest now, correct?
That is a 2025 goal.
Okay, so
yeah,
that's a year away.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a
not
way.
that far, yeah.
No, and we start hardcore on the shaping, if you will, after I get back from Fiji for my daughter's wedding. So,
sometime August.
well, it'd be August, yeah. And I won't. The reason why we're taking a full year to do that is because of the diagnoses and stuff. We don't want to cause more injury. We have to do this step by step, process by process. Okay, it's a dance. Is all this is.
It's a dance.
And
it really is.
and guys, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, I would like to make this very clear. I have absolutely no desire necessarily to win it. For this, it's touching the desk in the gym. Okay, I plan on walking across that stage. I will work for it, but I want to walk across the stage and say I did it, and then I will never do it again. I have zero
and then
desire.
You get the title of being a bodybuilder.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Julia, we're starting to run out of time
Sure.
here, and I know we could go on and on, but let me ask you, I guess, 2 wrap-up questions. If you were to have one piece of advice regarding the 5 or 6 now fitness factor Fs, what would that one piece of advice be?
I would tell you to apply what's called the compound effect. And what it is, it's taking little tiny daily steps towards any goal that you want to achieve, and you apply that to your life. You're not a little bit of time. You're not looking for the absolute change that you make in 2 or 3 weeks. You are looking for the applied efforts that you will get that build and build and build on each other over a period of 2, 3, 4 years. For instance, I'm not trying to make all these changes and boom instantly, because I know it'll go back.
It's one drop at a time.
One drop.
Just real quick, that's how I wrote my book. That's coming out. It's supposed to be any day now. So go to Amazon, search Brad Carlson, my book, Take Back Your Life. But anyway, I wrote it in just a little under a year, but it was like a page a day or 2 pages a day, or sometimes I didn't write anything, and then the next day one. So it was literally, I wrote it 1 page at a time over the course of a year. So
And it works.
Yeah,
it's less stressful is what I'll say. And it's not that stress can actually be good. It can be your friend.
Yeah.
But then there's unnecessary stress that doesn't need to be there. And so it's just about building. So that's the one piece that I would just simply state is apply the compound effect to any goal you want to achieve. And then the second thing I would leave with our audience, your audience specifically, is one day, one choice, one commitment, and one follow through at a time. If you apply that mantra, to minute by minute by minute of every choice that you make, I guarantee you that over the duration of your life, you are going to see results that are going to change everything. And if you don't mind me doing a plug for my new book club.
Hold on, we'll get to that.
Sure. Okay.
So
He just went boom.
Yeah,
okay.
Sorry. Did you want to say anything else real quick on the mantra? Or I had one follow-up.
The mantra is just that's it. I will be there. Actually, I'll be selling some hoodies and T-shirts and everything. That's all going to be coming out, a whole branding thing.
Okay, so before we get to that, so just a final question then. Is there anything left that you would like to tell our audience? We'll get to the book club and all that in a second, but is there anything left about any of this that you haven't been able to say yet that you would like to say?
I feel pretty complete on that. I mean, I do. I think it has hit its point, and if they have anything they want to talk about, then bring it up in questions, and we can always do another podcast on it.
So now let's get, Julia,
Sure.
If someone wants to reach you, how do they get a hold of you? A website, social media? You've got us a book club coming up. Tell us about this.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and just tell you first. On reaching me, you can always reach me under Julia Caton on Facebook. Period. It's a public profile, so you can find me there. Too, even though the website is it's undergoing a major revamping, so ignore what's there, but it is a way to contact me. The 918coach.com.
Oh,
okay. And then I believe on Facebook they also have my phone number and all that kind of thing. So you can always reach me through comments with Brad. Obviously, I'm not hard to find. Is the point? If you're really wanting to go there. On the book club, however, I'm so excited about this because one of the elements that is part of those the fitness factor is finances. And so I started a book club. It's just simply called, and it starts in about 2 weeks. Okay, called. Building Our Billions. There we go. Building Our Billions. And it is going to be a reading on books that are specifically on finances, how we achieve the life that we want to live through building our financial. I want to say, I want to go like this big old huge money bag, okay? But just remember that no matter whether you're broke or you're wealthy, it's still a process. It is about applying techniques that have been proven over and over again to achieve your financial fitness. And so that's coming up. And so find me on Facebook. Contact me through Brad if you need to. And if you want to be a part of that Building Our Billions, then let's go that next step because it does matter.
Okay. So I think I may join that club actually.
I would love for you
to. It's
good
to be in a mastermind type group and if you don't have one, create one that can support you in any one of these F's or all of them or something like that.
Yes.
So,
yes,
Julia, it's been a pleasure to have you today. This has been a lot of fun doing it live and in person like this. And like I said, look for more from Julia and I coming up in the very near future on our Facebook Live. So we'll put more information out about that. But if you've been listening today, super appreciate that. I always say, please share this episode far and wide. The more people we can reach, the better. I'm in 47 countries right now, so if you could please help me. My immediate goal is 50 countries. If you could help me long-term get to 100 countries, one country at a time, I would sure appreciate that. And if you would be so willing to leave me a review on Apple Podcasts, I would certainly appreciate that. I would love it if it was a 5-star review. I'll leave that up to you. But Julia, thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Again, look forward to more with Julia. And again, I will be rebranding this here in the very near future. But if you have feedback on keeping the name or something, let me know. But until next time, as I always say, be well, be safe, be happy, and eat some ice cream, everyone. Thanks.
Be fit.
Stay fit. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.